Right, so I've just literally finished routing the rebate around the edge of the body, which of course you can see is now complete, around the edge of the body for the bindings and the purflings. Now I didn't film it simply because this is the first time that I've used my new true channel jig, and it being the first time, obviously I really wanted to focus fully on this. But having done it, I mean, I've got to say, it's absolutely brilliant, and I'm really very pleased with the results. So I'll just show you what I've got here in a second. So these true channel jigs, they've obviously been around for ages, and what you've got is the router mounted in this kind of carriage, so it rises up and down as it follows the contour of the back. I'm sure you've seen these before. I've got this nice sturdy pillar here, so you haven't got any movement, and of course you've got the cradle with the various clamps so that the body sits in there. Now I've held off buying one of these before because I've always thought they were a bit overly priced, but I've found this one on the internet from the Elmer Guitar Company, and they're in China. So the whole thing, when I say the whole thing, I mean all the metal components, was 130 quid, shipped to the UK from China, and shipped in about a week. So I was absolutely blown away, one with the quality of it all, two with the price, and three actually using it. So yeah, dead chuffed with that. So what I've got to do now, have a bit of a clean up and get on with the bindings and the purflings. Right, so I'm just going to start gluing the purfling on, and where I use this dot and diamond rosette, I like to use 2 lines of thin black, white, black purfling. I think that complements it nicely. So that's going to be glued all the way around this top edge. So everything tends to get a little bit messy for a while, and it's all held in place with tape. So all the tape is it's pre-cut, if you like, and it's stuck onto my tree of masking tape, as I like to call it. So I should gradually work all the way around the instrument. Right, so that's the purfling, the first part of the purfling glued on around the front, and really I can't do any more on that today now. I want to leave that overnight to dry, and then the next part will be to do the purfling round here and to cut the mitres, which is really quite tricky. So yeah, that's for tomorrow. Nice sharp chisel. Try to keep it vertical. So after a bit of trimming, that's pretty much as good as I think I'm ever going to get that. So I'm pleased with the way that's looking. So now we'd repeat the process on the other side. So I'm just in the middle now of bending the ebony for the bindings. I was going to do maple, but I decided to go for this kind of dark look. So yeah, so I'm just bending the ebony, and it never really actually ceases to amaze me how readily the ebony bends. Because I mean, this ebony now that I'm bending for the bindings is 2.5 millimeters, so it's actually thicker than the walnut sides, but it's bending quite nicely. But what I will say is you've got to have good quality ebony. You know, it's no good using some kind of offcuts with wild grain. It has to be really prime stuff. So there we go, 1 down, 3 more to go. So I've got 4 pieces this shape to bend, and once I've done those, I'll have 4 pieces for the kind of cutaway part, whatever you want to call it. Right, so you can see I'm now gluing on the bindings. They're being glued on with Titebond, and I'm using this cotton tape to hold the bindings in place whilst the glue sets. And it's pretty much a traditional method, I guess I learned whilst I was making classical guitars back in the day. And the thing to do is to wind this on so that you're pushing the bindings in and down into the groove. And then once this is on, it'll be left overnight to dry off. So putting on bindings is quite a lengthy procedure, because really you can only put one on a day. Right, so the last piece of the binding has been glued on. So underneath this mess of tape and what have you, hopefully lies a really beautiful instrument. So I'm going to take all of this off and start the process of scraping and sanding, which is going to take quite a few hours to get this looking spot on. Right, so here we go. First of all, we'll start off with the cabinet scraper. Right, so here we are a day later, and I've just finished getting the body completely cleaned up. So we've got the ebony bindings going right the way around the outside of the instrument, and of course around the front we've also got some black lines. So the whole thing is looking really quite smart. So my next job is to get the neck fitted. So as always, many thanks for taking the time to watch the video. And you keep safe and take care. See you in the next one. Cheers.